So it is the actual design given for a railway station platforms. So here 6 meter shadows we have a shadow portion of 6 meter by using this trusses. So it is the elevation point. So here for this type of truss we have a another diagram. It is a plan diagram for this type of trusses. So we know, so this type of trusses starting point, center point here, from left side and right side we have here some planned area. So the planned area are divided by a portions. So like here 6 meter, 6 meter, 6 meter, 6 and 6 meters. So each one portion having 6 meter. That means here one truss will start here, then another truss will be placed on here after 6 meter. So like that the same type of trusses will be placed for every 6 meter intervals. So also this direction we have a 6 meter length here and 6 meter length here. So this 6 and 6 is a total 12 meter length of this width of the trusses. So here we have a symmetrical section. So here the left side 6 meter means right side also we having a same 6 meter length. So for this problem the solution are as the truss is symmetrical about the column, one half of the truss is analyzed. So we know this is a symmetrical trusses. So left side and right side are equal. So loads are also equal for a same purposes. So I am only going to analyze the only left portion of the structures. So like this left portion of the structures here like. So this is the only one portion we have to design, and this is the support portion. So before we analyzing we need to find out the total loads. So first I am started with a dead loads. So dead load is nothing but a weight of a covering and a dead weight of the roof trusses. So here weight of the AC sheet, asbestos cement sheet, so AC sheet. So its weight comes around 171 Newton per mm square. It is small little one. So these values are taken from IS 875 part 1. So IS 875 part 1 rated with a dead load condition for steel structures. So the in this codal position they have a every dead loads for the alternative materials. So from that we are taking a AC sheet. It has 171 Newton per mm square. So next thing is the sheets are supported by a purlins. So we have to add the dead weight of a purlins. So dead weight of purlins is 200 Newton per meter square for supporting the AC sheets. So next weight of the bracings. So some other cases bracings are provided for extra supports. So like that we are placing a 12 Newton per mm square is a dead weight of the bracings. So after that the self weight of the roof truss. So this is the roof truss. So the self weight of this steel roof truss will be taken by the formula given from IS 875. So the formula says the span by 3 plus 5 into 10. So this is the actual formula used for finding the dead weight of the roof trusses. So here we know the truss having span of left side 6 meter, right side 6 meter. So 6 plus 6 12 meter. So I am here putting here. So span length is a 12 meter. So 12 by 3 plus 5 into 10. So its value comes 4, 20, 40, 90 Newton per mm square. So 4 plus 5 9, 9 into 10, 9 into 10 90. So 90 Newton per mm square is the self weight of the roof truss, and also we have to add all the dead loads. So dead loads, total dead load is 171 for the AC sheet and 200 for the weight of your purlin and 12 for the weight of the bracings and 90 for the weight of the empty roof truss. So we adding it, its value comes 473 Newton per mm square. So 473 is a smallest value. So let me assume it is a more or less equal to 500 Newton per mm square for better easy calculations. So I am using after that 500. So for 473. So that's why I am here saying it is equal to more or less equal to 500 Newton per mm square. So Next, the spacing of the truss. We know the trusses are spaced after every 6 meter intervals. So the spacings of truss is 6 meter. So length of each panel 1.5 meter. Load on each intermediate panels. So each intermediate panels, so length 1.5, 6 meter. So 500 into 6 into 1.5. That means, so if we take any one simple panel like this, so this 6 meter and 6 meter. So here 6 by 6. So we have providing a purlins and intermediate we have providing a purlins and intermediate supports like this. So this 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. That means here we are saying 1.5 meter interval we have a one node. So we have to connect the purlins at the supports of each 1.5 meter intervals. So that means 1.5 into 6 meter is a paneled area for every roof covering. So here load on each intermediate panels we says it is 500. 500 is nothing but taken from 473. So 500 into 6 into 1.5. So it is a 4500 Newton. So we say 4.5 kilonewton here. So loads on end panels. So end panels it have here. This is the one portion of end panels. So if we taken, half of the loads will be taken out by another structure here. So half of this end structure the load will be carried out by the another left side direction. So that's why here say for end panel structure we have divide by 2. So 4.5 divided by 2, 2.25 kilonewton is total loads taken by that intermediate portions, that end panel portions. So until then the dead load calculations are completed. So here live loads. So we know it is a roof truss. So it is assumed that the problem of stresses are not subject to live loads. Therefore the live load will be taken as a 0 kilonewton per meter square. That means a 0. So another important load calculation is a wind load. So let the design wind pressure to be taken as a 1.05 kilonewton per meter square. Already we know, we already seen in a steel structures. So wind pressures are calculated from basic wind velocity plus K1 into K2 K into K3 into K4. So all are the one of the coefficients based on a risk factor, terrains like this. So by the calculation we have to assume, we have to design that wind pressure for this particular area we taken as a 1.05 kilonewton per meter square. So from IS 87 part 3 1987 it says the wind pressure may be taken as a 1.05 kilonewton per meter square. So another is, so wind pressure acting at the roof trusses. So we know we have to find out the slope of the roof truss. So angle of inclination, that means that is the angle of inclination. If we take here like this, so it is angle of inclination. So here also it is the angle of inclination. So let me say, so angle of inclination is a 7.125 degree. So that means tan inverse of 0.75 divided by 6. So here 0.75, here 6 meter. So tan inverse of vertical by horizontal, it directly gives the angles of this portion. So this is the actual slope angles we are providing this type of structures. So for this alpha value, so for this inclination 7.125 degree, it has coefficient of external pressure is 0.3425. So it is taken from a table 8 of IS 875 part 3. So we know IS 87 part 3 deals with a wind load pressures. So for calculation we have referred the 875. It says for a inclination of 7.125 degree, the coefficient of external wind pressure is a plus 0.3425. So it is a simple. So let me see another one. So solidity factor pi. So solidity factor is nothing but a area of a obstruction under the canopy divided by cross area under can pi. So area of the obstruction under the can pi means, so here we know, so this is the roof stress area. So here it will projected to the, it directly projected to the this much of area. So it is the actual area under the this shed. So also the gross area means it is a total gross area we have to apply. That means it simply says area of the sheets we provided. So that ratio is a solidity factor. So for this type of a solidity factor, so for alpha value 7.125, it's can have a 0 and 1. So we have here two types of external pressures. So one is 0.3425, already we know. The another one is a pi value for 1. So its value comes 0.8. So we will use the both things later. So for butterfly truss has the large opening. So its opening more than 20%. So we know it is a large opening, so there is no side walls. So having large openings, that means a internal earth pressure, internal wind pressure will also be maybe higher. So for example, so it is the actual wind force direction here. So it will be acting like a local direction of this plane. So it is a external direction wind pressure. So we know it is a large opening. So it also having a, sometimes it also have a negative wind pressure. So from bottom to top, sometimes it may cases. So that's why we have assumed a coefficient of a internal wind pressure. So here we take here for more than 20%. Its value comes plus or minus 0.7. It is its coefficient. So from this coefficient we have to find the maximum wind pressure. So maximum positive wind pressures and maximum negative wind pressure we need to calculate. So maximum positive wind pressure is nothing but, so difference between external and internal coefficients into area into wind pressure. So here I am saying it is plus or minus 0.3425. So plus 0.3425 plus or minus 0.7. So 0.7 is for a internal. So actually the formula is CPE minus CPI into area into wind pressure. W like this, wind load like wind pressure. So here this plus into area is 6 into 6. So we know the each panel having a 6 into 6 meter. So its wind pressure value is 1.05. So by adding these all things, its value comes more or less plus or minus 39.4 kilonewton. So it is a one value for a wind loads. So also like that negative wind loads will be taken as. So for negative wind loads we taking a maximum external pressure minus 0.8. So here minus 0.8 plus or minus 0.7 into area is 6 into 6 and its wind pressure value 1.05. So by calculating this for maximum, so we have to lose this plus. So minus 0.7 minus 0.8 plus minus 0.7. So minus 1.5 into 6 into 6 into 1.05. So its value, maximum value comes 56.7 kilonewton. So this is the these two portions are the we calculated maximum and minimum wind pressures. So here wind load of the half of the trusses. So we know the truss having a both directions. So we need to find the half of the direction. So here 56.7 divided by 2. So its value comes 28.35 kilonewton. So more or less I am taking it as a 30 kilonewton. So 30 kilonewton is a actual designed wind load. So by comparing these two, so 56 is the maximum. So I am calculating from 56. So it comes 30 kilonewton. So this we assuming that 30 kilonewton design is provided for both internal and external wind pressures acting on both directions also. So let the wind load in an intermediate panel point be W1. So wind load at the end of the panel will be, end of the panel of the stresses will be W1 by 2. So here, so I am taking the total wind load for this pressure. So this diagram, so this is the internal, so it may be taken a total wind load W1, so it is also taken W1, it is also taken W1. So but in this direction the end panels will taken a only W1 by 2 portions, and here also W1 by 2 portions will be taken. So that's why I am here. So we have to calculate a total wind pressures. So W1 by 2 plus intermediate W1, another intermediate W1, another intermediate W1, and the last end panel W1 by 2. So its value 30 kilonewton. So that's we are calculating 30 kilonewton. So by this calculation we have to find out the what is the actual wind load acting. So 1, 2, 3 and half, 3 and half and half, 4. For W1 is a 30, so W1 is nothing but 30 divided by 4, so 7.5 kilonewton. So for the 7.5 kilonewton wind load we have to split up it for every portion. So member stress due to dead load and wind load from figures are shown in table. So I am explaining in these tables. So here we see, so this is the actual half portions of the plane. So here I am saying 7.5 is a wind load and 4.5 is a dead load calculation. So end panel having a dead load of 2.25 and this end also having a 2.25, and the wind load is a half of the wind load 3.75. So here I am naming like this.